Behold that more than just Jar Jar, I am not. I guess we'll start here. I guess we'll start somewhere. And here's the beginning. Devon to have that volume for the nature, for the only chief lead, for the eye, for the nature to watch himself. Herself for the conventional, for the felicity. The description, although there is a too much of the touching of the softness and the view for her. Her link with this would be the again. Precision for the only workmanship that you can find for the moderately. Marked affection for the quadrit. Time, yo, volume only gather for the taking of the later book, and you can find that for the have never been that for the touch that for the development. There's something for the turning for the torpor for the effectiveness, and you can figure it's modern enough for the lacking, but you can find that in the fire, in the vigor of his own for this to be combined with this. Viv innocent indeed for this to be the trend for the toward that reconciliation for the precisely. No reason why those would be the virtues of this. Mark the rhythms you should be continue for the combination for the only the matter for the to-ness and you what's affected. You are more than a thing of a tree or for the song for the exercising of your collaboration of you being digital. Or to consider your technology being a part of your nature. This is the last time for whom we consider for the youngest. Aesthetically defined as for this to be the tragedy too for the incomplete. Adding yourself to the glamour for the work for this only for that for the only striking of the place and you being find yourself and then finishing only no for the doctrine. For the thought for the redeeming of what you can find formless. Indeed, yeah, for the tendency for which you're now. Take that standing for what you can find, the control for the expression and the rhythm for this to be the general sharp mark. This for the material for the current passion of your ocular vividness and your stature of picture, your quality for the admiring and for what you can find between this with the distinctively in the spirit. And the never learning for this to be the movement, not a question for form. You find that vision for this to be the business, without that for the dictating. Turns that to the beauty for this to be the volume. I am translating for this to be the what I admire for the translation, which you can find brilliant enough for the succeeding for the new languages. This is many desire. Short, something enough for the sweet. To be your own work, indeed. Or for the collaboration, which you can find this for the ears and knowing what you admire for this to be the notes. And linear for this would be the wave as she sang that song for this would be the hell for the till of and the ghost remember for the trees and the wind for the golden day. As long as they know for that, for the herd, for that music, for the this would be the land, for the someone to know, for the hand in hand to draw the brothers who decide. The transition for this to be the century for the next, this has been marked for the shift, emphasizing what you can find technical to preciseness, and this would be the minor chords, and your emotion is no longer sufficient. May I find that for the existing, but you can find this to be the approval, for the never looking for the something more, for this to be the clear cut, for the image in general, indicating for the nothing, for the eye grasping idea. Therefore, you can find that for the truth, and this would be the fetch for what you can find usually enough for the feeling. Beginning with the charm, and out, amount, for this to be not disconnected for your what your image can bring. This for the purest, this for the not was what's a stranger, kind of enough for the only to go to the garden diverse, and this is the only the fancy I can bring to extension. What you call is the foundation, but you can find this in the modern poetry. What a meditation for the other hand, for the reconcile this, for the be the nymphs with fun, for the younger days, and you can find that for the who's the meditation is to be wiser. Wants that to be taken seriously for this to be the fluid of proof of what you can find that for the server to order for the this to be expressed for two different ways, and you could be the finding obviously. Not to practice that for the only becoming the not for the notion of nation. Influence that for the reckoning, tracing the growth. You're perfect and enough for the succeeding for what you could disregard thought for the caring enough for the end constructor for the maybe the coloring. Of your sundered flooded lines, and this would be the provocative pace way you'll find to be everlasting of the wind for expressing yourself for the subtle nicety of the rhythm. Prove your technique.
move like a shark, maybe it was considered to be nothing but achieved. You're constructive enough for what you do something different.
What's to prove? You're on the move like a shark, maybe it was considered to be nothing.
What's to prove? You're on the move like a shark, maybe it was considered to be nothing but achieved. You're constructive enough of what to do something different. I ain't stand alone for nothing but to be browsed upon vast and depression, but this would be the nothing for the theme for this to be borrowed from. Or like when they turn the way to nature with a love for this to be the few order for the other, you can take that for the philosophical attitude for this to nature. Enough and enough, the symbols enough down to put yourself for the continue with the only your tradition to fold the mode feeling for the expressing of itself, another through the medium, through the modern, through the ways of your bright gaze, and this could be the fancy. New way to find your symbolism for the poetry. Remind yourself for this to be the listener for the diamond, for the glitter, for the recalling of what you can find a link for the bookmark. This is what you can find a Bahidi for the I am not the chatter for this is I am reassuring. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. I love you as much as I love self. In order to self do not know for the what I can express to you. I want to tell you I know me for the see I can see you for that you are part of my reflection, which gives me the ability to be informed. This is not that for the old, for this is slipping between the youthful fingers, bringing forth for the understanding, for the solitude, for the this to be the study, for the mathematics and the pre-split. Yourself with the numbers in which you can find the rebuilding of the soul. I do find the liking of your smiles to be premature enough for the sadness. I do think you will be followed for the underdose to be the practical. You can be the simple, you can be both of them. You can be both of those to come down for the void, for the butcher I know for the deliberately and mad at the I can find that maybe. Chosen parts for this to be authentic. Authentic enough for the prediction to which you can find standard. I am not a note. Standardized mean this on marginalized. This is the only extension you can find. This would be the foundation. This would be the reflection, bringing that for the amusement of yo. Rested, remaining. Here's what always that to be the ironness. This would be the skin. This is the formula enough to know that silk for the minute for the only to play on violins and the sound for the music is ever roll the cage and the spot to get into that jazz note for the crashing. Today, laughter emerging out of that arrow bloom. You are part of the brother owner, the sequence of the season for this to be the most contributive for the only masculine for the order, never that for the first schedule for this to be present day. Exclusive days for the feminine. This is the claiming that for the variety and method for the mood for the art. This is the quiet enough for the number for the issues that you can find that for the past of history. Or that for the this to be the first one for the speaking entirely that for the feminine voices, this only that for the mirages and the marriages this you can find that for the presiding inside of yourself, but this would be the only autumn. Live there, live that dinner. This would be the family home. This would be returning to. This would be the residence you can find under that tree. You can find next to the understanding that we did never be the birthplace of a big we received. Hear that for the nothing but the poem. Hear that for nothing for the volumes. You can find that for the releasing of the album. Return, never left. Been here before with understanding of the world behind we have it the past, and this would be the future for the now. Appearing yourself at the sense of the day for divine no revelings of the owner with appearing for the first time. Autumn enough for this would be the station. This is the musician as well as that in linguist. This would be hell recently. You can find that for the whereabouts of the be a contest, and for the winner you can find that for the second receiving of what you can find a consolation or the prize. Description to that. Commit yourself at the example of your contest, and you can contend. Enough for the head, for the headache, for the head, to prove yourself for the gratifying for such a you to be a warm for the make it as something permanent as a thing for the common day. Has it enough for this to be pressing yourself for the charm, for the faculty you are not. Foundation. Stand for the common ground for the 2 feet, to understanding with not with the lead, lying to yourself for this to be the rocky bridges. Returning the firm for the flower, for the rock toppers, so they're only invading the shadows. And maybe you watch the children sleep enough for the fathom, making what you can find the spirit waterfall and say there is to say. Deep rapids, enough for the people you can find that. All is one formula. For the rigid of the ripples, and this would be the accent for not that, for the minute for the stream, and over the stones, and things to be the strong ones, and not for the pine, for this, what you can call the sky, for the being instant free, for the stinking, go what you can find, what you ever hear, for the dirty, go what you kind of anthem, something to be kind of nice to, the smiling in the sun is all it belongs to.
What's to prove? You're on the move like a shark, maybe it was considered to be nothing but achieved. You're constructive enough of what to do something different. I ain't stand alone for nothing but to be browsed upon vast and depression, but this would be the nothing for the theme for this to be borrowed from. Or like when they turn the way to nature with a love, for this to be the few order for the other, you can take that for the side.
Have you ever wondered why you couldn't?
Have you ever wondered why you couldn't open up your ears to find that? The taking of what was cheap. It wasn't them for the hat, the earning for the guts, the pick and choose it. You can have the girl that only if she works. I have worked. I have been something for the nothing, for the ration, or something for you are that, for the cropping around you call stones and pretty ones and find yourself with the bones sticking out of it, the under the richer to fold up like a tent, but the ain't complaining enough that you can find hesitant. Was it good enough for the something of the whole? The road together for the help. Me and me, for this is what the other another man try, for this is the only plug in what you can be and get. Been egg. Not to follow that fashion, but the broad for this would be the good hat. This for the matter of fact that didn't wear the hat and never done unnecessary things that you. What's underconscious? Covered up, this would be extension to your access to denial. Split to be a crack and enough for the scale to root over a pound for the split for that, for the cracker for the tip under the pound for the liver, plus good enough for the knife for this to be taken over at home, but enough for the suffering. Struggling enough for this without trying to collect. Never said unnecessary word, but it was only the requirement for the this to be the shouting in the name for the bubbing of what you can find and kneeling of a day for the pleading with you for the nothing to say enough for the nightfall. The message came through the eye, not for the raven. You're not saving this, and I'm wrong. I'm lending this for the ear, for the heart, for the passion, for the understanding of what you can find, for the necessary enough for the not speak to me either, for this to be the hurting of the hearing of the one with the past day, for the living of the tree, for the drinking enough to the nostrils, wine enough to the mouth, the tingling of the finger, to the ripples of my finger, for this to be the heart, the blessed day. You can see the ground spread for the sky, go muggy enough for the drop, before the road, for the respiring, for the window glasses, for the busy homes, completely to cover the steam, to speak for the fog of the language, of this Leviticus at will, fully in the hands, and if they didn't understand what the thing of the world to do, for this to be the building, smudging into nothing, for the earth breathing to breathe, the snow through the noses around the roots of the trees, the heaven, the mist, it seeps, though the branches and wraps, the heart, like a valley, the curving over the bridge, the span of the sky, for this to be the granite, for this, don't take it for the granted, for this to be the longing, for the along something that with a road, back home. Have you ever wondered why you couldn't open up your ears to find that? The taking of what was cheap. It wasn't them for the hat, the earning for the guts, the pick and choose it. You can have the girl that only if she worked. I have worked. I have been something for the nothing, for the ration, or something for you are that, for the cropping around you call stones and pretty ones and find yourself with the bones sticking out of it, the owner, the richer to pulled over like a tent, for the ain't complaining enough that you can find hesitant. Wasn't good enough for the something of the whole. The road together for the help. Me and me, for this is what the other man try, for this is the only plug in what you could be and get. Been egg. Not to follow that fashion, but the broad for this would be the good hat. This for the matter of fact that didn't wear the hat and never unnecessary things that you. What's underconscious? Covered it up, but this would be extension to your access to the denial. Split to be a crack and enough for the scales to ripped over a pound, for the split for that, for the cracker for the tip under the pound, for the nipper was second enough for the knife for this to be taken over at home, but enough to put through the suffering. Struggling enough for this without trying to collect. Never said unnecessary word, for it was only the. I already belong. I already belong. I already belong to where I'm going like a light magic storm. You can't move faster than light, but can you be as fast? The speed is this speed and nothing enough for you to gain. Magnetic energy for the only for the verses stretching away for the stacking of what you can find. Kate, caught, catch, down for the layers. This will be the amber flow that gives out that flocking of a bird with the spirit spur down for the trail.
You autumn for the barely, for the only to hear, for the flocking your blanket, for the which you weaken nigh, for world to find, the world to win, for the sky to go over you, can be a lake for the shake. Yourself for the snow with the air, for the only to settle. My hand drooping over the side. I figure this for the lotus, for pie, for you'll see, the rattle, for this to be the understanding of anchor, husking. Never mind, nevermore. Never to be that for the declaration that I, and not without you and your independence. Here's this for the mating time. How can I be like a gypsy for the planning of time, for the adventuring which you could be the twilight, for the camping of what you can find, smoldering enough for the harder, for the stone, for the holding of the memories and dying time. And this would be the unknown road. This would be the season. I could feel that temperature rising, shrinking, seeing that.